her experience with Riley is what's fueling her relationship with Joel. She's ready to walk out on Joel in that episode. It's because of that flashback we get the context behind, I'm not gonna go find Tommy. I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna fight till the end. I think that honestly it's a breath of fresh air because one dude shot himself in the head. He had to kill his brother. Bill and Ted, I'm gonna just refer to them as Bill and Ted.
This ain't no,
I get it.
happy ending story. Like,
I get it, but damn, it's just mad people going through traumatic experiences. It's like, again. And her best friend runs away because Quan assigns her to Sewage.
man, first sign of work and the shit she did was run. Crazy.
She was in the sewage job.
Niggas told her, God forbid she got to do some manual labor. Like, damn. She said shit. I'm mad.
Ding, 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 ding.
Preach, brother.
Ding, 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 ding. The Last of Us Episode 7 review.
All right.
Big shout out to our comrade Moira. If you're watching this episode, we appreciate you commenting, liking, subscribing, all of that good stuff on our episodes. The Last of Us Episode 7 is basically an episode that follows Ellie just before she meets Joel, pretty much. She's at the child camp where they teach her how to become the QZ, where they teach her how to become a military.
Fedra soldier.
A Fedra soldier. And her best friend runs away because Quan assigns her to Sewage.
Oh, where? Okay. I didn't sign nothing.
Quan assigns her.
Man, first sign of work and the shit she did was run. Crazy.
She was in the sewage job.
Niggas told her, God forbid she got to do some manual labor. Like, damn.
So that's pretty much the episode, and
She got out of there.
yeah, she said, I'm out of there. Join the Fireflies.
She said shit. I'm mad.
And that's that. So they spend the entire episode at the mall. That's how that episode goes down. But I really like the cinematography of this episode. That's literally one of the highlights. Like the Ferris moment when Riley comes in through the window, it reminded me of Indiana Jones 1. It's one of my favorite shots in Indiana Jones 1 where Indy is being introduced. I can't remember if it's Marion or Indiana Jones, but there's like this big superhero shot of them in the shadow, and it was just so fire. And they kind of do that same exact thing in The Last of Us. And me, my favorite cinematography style is like dark, moody shadows. And they go with that throughout this entire episode. And I thought that was really fire. Another thing about it, like throughout this episode, their use of flashlights, it reminded me of Don't Breathe 2. Like I love that harsh lighting aesthetic to it. Another thing that I really liked about it was that when Riley pretty much confesses her love, the way that the camera is angled is the Mr. Robot aesthetic. But the meaning behind it is much doper because they're not in the frame together. The way it's framed, there's a disconnect. It's really heavy on one side, the other one's really heavy on the other side, and that's because they're not really seeing eye to eye. But when they're together and they kiss and all that stuff, they're both in the frame together. Even with the medium close-ups, the eye line, I'm talking about the eye line, the line of sight, like now it lines up with each other. Before it was like they're looking into nothing. Now that they confess their love for each other, they're looking at each other. There's a future there. And then it's cut short because of the infected, but that was another aspect of this episode that I really liked. I thought that was clever. And it's so small. Also, she was ready to blow shit up. She had them bombs ready. She had them shits ready. I think Bella Ramsey's acting was on point because the moment that they first got on screen, I already knew what time it was.
Wait, what you mean?
I knew what time it was. I didn't think that they were gonna, I knew they was into each other. That's what I'm trying to say. Like the looks that she was giving her and stuff like that. I'm talking about early in the episode. The only reason why I was like, maybe I'm tripping is because I was a little uncomfortable. I'm gonna be honest with you because they're portraying kids. Because I was a little bit uncomfortable about that one Stranger Things episode where they had them kids kiss. Remember season 3? Oh, you don't watch Stranger Things no more?
No, I stopped at the midway season 2.
Damn, there was a season where they were at a ball and they had them kids kiss. But I was like, I didn't know you were allowed to do that on screen.
Like, ew.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm keeping the G's, bro. It was a little jarring to me because I'm like, bro, it's not like they were teenagers or whatever. Like they were teenagers, but they weren't even like 16. So it was a little.
She was 16. Ellie's still like 14.
No. I'm talking about Stranger Things.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I know in real life, Ellie is like what, 19-ish. So I guess they could get away with it. It was just weird because they're kids.
They're portraying kids.
Yeah, they're portraying kids. So as I'm watching it, I'm guessing this is what the episode is doing, but I'm like, nah, they're just friends. So they just letting it rock. Until the episode starts to play out and it's really like, nah, I'm really fucking with you. Like I'm really trying to do stuff. Like we got the time. So
She said, "Give me, I got the time."
yeah. Literally, they was like, "Yo, let's get to it." Like that was a little odd for me. I thought this episode, a lot of people were saying it was heartfelt. I didn't really feel anything.
Same.
I thought the only thing that it really made me feel was like thinking of like us. It's not that I have feelings for you in that way.
Darn.
But it made me think about like us when we were younger. It's kind of like, you feel me? It's like a teenage thing, right? Like you're just outside doing dumb shit. You guys know you're not supposed to. And it's just like, it's coming to an end. Like your friend is leaving and all of that good stuff. So I thought it was cool. Like that's the one thing I think they captured really well. That whole thing of coming of age, growing up, going through everything.
I thought it was a little weird.
You thought it was weird?
Had them little girls drinking and making out. Nah, sorry. Alcohol got to them.
The alcohol thing, it's like, it was more of an ill factor more than anything. Cause like you got this dead dude right here and you picked up the alcohol and you trying to drink that shit.
Yeah,
what if you got infected?
I'm like, yo, look at that man's mouth. Like, why would you drink all that?
Disgusting,
like,
bro.
I don't care what happened. I'm like, nah, I wouldn't even.
And it wasn't a closed bottle either.
That was that good stuff though.
That was nasty, bro.
Pulling up to a dead dude, taking his half empty.
That's nasty, bro.
Bottle of liquor.
I think that was probably one of up there is top 3 nastiest parts of the episode.
Then sharing it.
I think this episode was cool though because in the video games, and I remember in the last episode I mentioned this. There was a mall in the game, right? Mm-hmm. I remember a mall vaguely.
I remember a mall differently.
It was completely different. It wasn't the way that they portrayed it. So I thought it was cool because we still got an episode of just Ellie alone, and we still incorporated the mall, but it also gave us a reason to give a fuck about Ellie being alone. Her experience with Riley is what's fueling her relationship with Joel, because she's ready to walk out on Joel in that episode. And so it's because of that flashback we get the context behind, yo, you know what? I'm not gonna walk out on him. I'm not gonna go find Tommy. I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna fight till the end to make sure he's good. I actually genuinely like the way the episode ended because it's like, we know what happens next. We don't have to show her turning. We don't have to show who kills who. Just move on to the next thing.
I was actually disappointed in that. I wanted to see that.
I like that.
No, you gotta think, what they said, let's go insane together. Mm-hmm. Ellie had to watch her go insane. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see that.
Really?
Yes, how did you go about that? How did you get out of that situation? They was cuddling. How do you get out of that situation? Where did she go after that? Who did she speak to? Yo,
be honest with you.
That's actually a lot.
That is a lot, but I think that honestly it's a breath of fresh air because it's just so much people. Bro, one dude shot himself in the head. He had to kill his brother. Bill and Ted, I'm gonna just refer to them as Bill and Ted.
This ain't no,
I get it.
happy ending story. Like,
I get it, but damn, it's just mad people going through traumatic experiences. It's like, again, I like that breath of fresh air where it's like,
again?
Yeah, because it gives her the, like, we understand now why she's like, yo, you know what, Joel, I know it's gonna hurt. I'm gonna sew you right back up.
I need to know how she got out of that. Did she have to put her down herself?
I'm good, bro.
See, I need to know that stuff. That's what I was looking forward to. Then the episode ended.
I'm okay, bro.
I said, okay.
I personally don't need all of that. I thought it was cool, the whole world build. Again, the world building aspect of it. The child soldiers, Marlene, Fireflies. I think this, again, does the whole video game movie thing justice and how to do it properly. First off, by bringing the original creator on board, because only the original creator really knows how to bring the story forward. So that's a respect thing. And then secondly, again, I remember in the video games, the mall was incorporated and they still found a way to incorporate the mall while also making it entertaining. And I think in this next episode, we're still going to focus on Ellie. So I'm a little confused on why they did all that. Because if that is an aspect of it, part of me wants to say we didn't need this episode. If that's the case, if we're still gonna focus on Ellie. I don't think we needed this episode if that's gonna be it. But I appreciate the world building.
I'm not gonna say we didn't need the episode. It didn't need to be an episode itself.
We could have gotten bits and pieces and chunks. We got a full hour-long episode with Ellie. And to be honest, it dragged at some points. It dragged at some bits. And it's not a bad episode, but it was just like, it's just because it's like, what do we do next? There was moments where I found myself like not really wanting to pay attention anymore because it was just like,
it was points where I'm like, damn, I hope something happened to them.
Okay, cool.
I was wishing ill on them. I'm like, yo, I hope a horde of them.
So that's what okay, cool. So I'm glad you brought that point up. I think this episode is also an example of why the Bill and Ted episode, it worked, but why I was saying there was no real sense of danger versus this one, Because this episode didn't start getting interesting, truly getting interesting, until we saw that one infected. Until we saw the one infected that was stuck to the wall. That's when I was like, okay, it's interesting. Because now there's that fuse that was lit. That's like, oh shit, okay, something's gonna happen. And that's what made that time feel a lot much more appreciated. Because in the Bill and Ted episode, once again, it was just like, bro, they was just chilling that whole time. Now imagine that. That's pretty much the Bill and Ted episode, except just the girls. Imagine that zombie was never, or the infected was never there that entire time. It would have just been a boring ass episode. We wouldn't have felt that impending danger. So honestly, overall, I thought it was a cool episode. It's not one of the best episodes. Honestly, it probably could have cut out, like, it could have just made that whole flashback thing maybe like 25 minutes and really focusing on Joel. But I get it too, because there's not really much you can do with Joel because he's freaking injured. And I'm guessing it's just for the next episode they want to save everything. So it's weird because it's not a filler, but it's also not an important episode.
That episode felt like more of a filler than anything.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I guess we'll go with that then.
Because I got it sitting at a high 7.
Damn, that's still a high score.
But not for The Last of Us, though.
Yeah, The Last of Us overall.
That's low.
This episode, I'm going to give it a solid 6.5. I'm gonna give it a 6.5 just for this episode. Just because, honestly, I think the cinematography was my favorite part.